Yes, thanks for coming in, Glenn. And to set the scene, we need to have a look at a bit of a highlights package. There's a few highs here, but there's a couple of lows you mightn't want to look at. I think we see you scoring a try for Canberra against Parramatta. Might have been a record score this day against Parramatta. You get one away, you're Johnny on the spot, you almost get it under the posts, and there you are diving over there. A wonderful try there. And next we see a State of Origin try. Benny lays on something a bit special there for you, close to the line, and over you go. Looks as though you might have dropped the ball, but doesn't matter. Here's a beautiful plan move, a Wayne Bennett special. Look what lays on here. Khan gets the ball in the air. It bounces back 25 metres. You're there, away you go.
Johnny on the spot.
Johnny on the spot again. And now we come to a couple of lesser highlights. Here you are, I think it's against Manly. I think you do an ankle here. Obviously the weight there pushes you in the direction that the ankle didn't want to go in, and so it broke. And mercifully there was a truck on hand, bit of a tap on the back. Now here you are on a recent club challenge match. You jump in the air, you try to do an Alfie special, and unfortunately the ankle decides to leave before you do. And that's the cause of recurrent hobbling. How is the ankle?
Well, the ankle's doing fine. I had a screw removed from the ankle a week and a half ago, and now it's just a matter of rehabilitation and day after day physio. But unfortunately, I won't be coming back this year.
Now, when you do an ankle like that, previous to that, you would have been eating an awful lot, because you would have been playing. Do you consciously have to cut down the eating because you're not expending as much energy in the lifting the weights or the training or whatever it is?
Well, you're supposed to, but look, ironically, I'm probably the lightest I've ever been. Lightest I've been this year, and I've come to resigned to the fact that I won't be playing again. So I'm sort of having my mini off-season at the moment and probably start in a month's time.
And speaking of the off-season, the Bronx have got one more game. It's next Saturday night. The results tonight produced a bit of a, well, I don't know how to see this from the Broncos' point of view. You're playing Cronulla in the Super League final. Now, previous matches against Cronulla, one you've been belted and the other one you belted them. What do you think is going to happen next Saturday night?
Well, Cronulla did us a huge favour roughly 10 weeks ago now. They gave us an awful touch-up, and we just realised that the way we were playing just wasn't going to be good enough to win any sort of a competition. And unfortunately, last year we came up against Cronulla in the semi-finals, and they highlighted the fact on our last game of the year. So we've got some, probably, a thank you to Cronulla for that, but as I said, the last 8 weeks we've turned it around, and as we saw last week, we played some real good football. In fact, the Broncos are probably white hot for 40 minutes last week, and I'm not saying they're not going to be this weekend either, but I'm sure they'll have to play a little bit better than what they did last week.
Glenn, have you ever done the footy show? Have you been on the footy show?
Oh, a couple of times, yeah.
Did they get you to do anything silly, like wear a dress or nappies or something like that?
No, not at all. Thank God, no.
They didn't make that request? No. Is the Brisbane footy show still going? It had Badge Belcher and
That's a sore point at the moment. It's not going. They've decided to go with the Sydney one. And I
always thought the Brisbane one was a better show than the Sydney one, without, talking the Sydney one down, because it's very good, as you know.
It is.
But is that a source of some concern amongst Brisbane people?
I'd have to say it would be. I think, and I'm only guessing here, that the ratings were a lot better last year when they took their local footy show. So I dare say that there is a bit of animosity there towards the Sydney one, but I'm sure they still watch it.
Yeah, well, look, the reason I raised this is that HG and myself happened to be over at Channel 9 just before the footy show went to air last, must have been Thursday night. We were just doing a little bit of work for, helping Channel 9 out with a couple of ideas. And we bumped into Spuddy Carroll from the Manly team, a great friend of yours, obviously. Now, he said to me that Manly would do the Broncos so easy, it's not funny. He said the Broncos would have trouble making the final 7 in the ARL competition. How do you feel about that? Because that's what Spud's saying.
Is he? Yeah, Spud says a lot of things. Yeah. They all aren't necessarily true, but a lot of them are. And look, we'll never know, will we, whether the Broncos would have went all right in a united competition, because it's just not going to happen.
Well, see, we proposed this. We proposed this when we were talking to Ricky Stewart ages ago, that the ABC, neutral parties here, organise a sort of Super Bowl match between Manly and the Broncos, should the Broncos win. All money's to go to a charity.
Manly are going to win, are you?
Yeah, well, let's assume Manly wins, and let's assume the Broncos win, both competitions.
Okay. Yeah.
All money's to go to charity. Brian Johnson's in the audience here tonight. He can endorse this and say, yes, it's a good idea. All we need is your people to say it's a good idea, because I know Spud, speaking for Manly, he's on board. Now, are you prepared to speak on behalf of the Broncos and say we'll do this?
We've agreed that it is a good idea.
Yes.
We've
Well,
agreed.
no, let's not agree. Let's say let's do it. I want to hear you say
we've
yes.
agreed
we'll
that
do it.
it's a great idea and it's something that should be looked at if and when we become one.
No, well, bugger that. That may not happen. Let's say in a month's time,
Yeah. Well, it
you
won't
will
happen.
meet on the ABC at a neutral venue. We'll cover it.
Whereabouts?
All money's to go to charity.
Right. Yep.
The Sydney Cricket Ground.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not really neutral, is it?
All right.
The lift go. Watchford over and lift go. Bloody hell.
Let's not argue about the shape of the table here in our discussion.
Look, yeah,
You'll accept that?
I'd accept the fact that it should be played at the beginning of next year, and it should be a charity match, and all money should go to charities. Yes.
Oh, that's
Now,
good. That's great. It's
It
going to
is a
happen.
tremendous improvement. And what I like to see is, you, Roy,
Yes.
with a player, solving the problems that all those people like Rupert Murdoch and Kevin Packer and,
I know.
Neil Whittaker and Reeves
Yes.
can't get together with this. Fantastic.
Well,
Just
if we can get this done, Northern Ireland, not a problem.
That's right.
Beirut, Middle East, and so on. We could do it, Glenn.
I'm sure
we
you
can
can.
do it.
I'm sure you
Buddy,
can.
just
Yes.
takes...
Now, can you cast your eye over the ARL now that we're talking about Manly? Is there a team there that can beat Manly, do you think?
Yeah, I think there is, and I think they played last night. I think that East, the one thing that is going in their favour is that they've had very few injuries. We saw today Parramatta and North sustaining injuries, but I think East have just got that experience on board with Freddie Fittler and the like, so I think they'll have something to say about Manly winning back-to-back premierships.
They had a terrible trough in the middle of the season, East, but I know they had a lot of injuries, but they're obviously coming good at the right time.
Yeah.
And do you follow it at all? I mean, obviously you follow the Super League because that's what you do, but do you cast an eye over and watch the matches as they unfold?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they're playing football, and I enjoy watching football on TV, whether it's Super League or ARL.
Glenn, you went through a period of stomping on blokes. Now, why was this? Why would a bloke
I don't
like you,
really
a
know.
charming,
Well,
young, credit to his family,
that's the key
to the
word.
Queanbeyan area,
Yeah.
to rugby league in general, a credit to Australia, let's face it.
Yeah, well,
Stomping on blokes' heads, stomping on their...
no, well, not on their heads, but...
Well, listen, we had a case in, might have been the AFL last week, I think it might have been Wayne Schwass, got 4 weeks for stomping on a bloke's cruets. Now, have you ever stomped on a bloke's cruets?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
Well,
In
what do you
fact,
stomp
this
on? What do you
happened-
like stomping on?
Well, look, I don't like stomping, full stop.
Well, you
But-
did.
Well, I know. If you let me explain, I will. This happened a couple of years ago, and it was just a frustrated old football player, I think, more than anything. And the why I did, I don't know. I'm wearing moulded soles, and that wouldn't hurt nor bruise a grape. So it happened a couple of times. I was sent a letter, warned about it, and that was the end of it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's your
There's
excuse.
no dramatic story about it, Roy. That's
Just a frustrated football.
Yeah, it was, yes.
Where did you get him? On the hand? On the...
Oh, the hand, whatever was sort of sticking out there.
Can I ask you about play? You play for the Broncos now. The Broncos provide, historically speaking, a whole heap of players for state of origin teams. I know this is a bit of a moot point at the moment. How does it feel when you've got to, train with the lads and play with the lads on the weekend, then you go into camp with, obviously a New South Wales coach. Then you have to front up and start building into Alfie and, Wendell Saylor and so on. And then on the following Sunday, you've got to go back and play with them. I mean, I've always wondered how you actually get around that sort of problem.
I can't. I mean, it's just a problem, and it's a problem I like having every year. But the fortunate thing for me is that every year that I've been now with the Broncos 6 years, and 95 was the only year that I didn't play State of Origins for one or two reasons. But every year that I have played, I have been in a winning New South Wales side. So I've had a lot to go back to training with. And in fact, I just sit there and don't say anything, and I can tell they're burning, and they can't say anything. And that's what I like about playing for New South Wales. But it's not a nice place to be, Brisbane. And look, Brisbane's a wonderful place, but when I'm playing for New South Wales, there is that little bit of animosity. And I have to admit, I'm really very happy when the 3 weeks or the 3 state of origins are over, so we can get back to normality. And of course, the Brisbane public supporting me again.
Glenn, can I suggest, when I was playing, I used to much prefer hitting my mates, hitting my friends. It was much easier to do than hit people you don't know.
I don't know about that.
You haven't found that? You don't like hitting
not
mates?
at all. No, I don't like hitting mates, no.
You're a funny bloke, aren't you? You go to the stomp and you don't like it.
But is it difficult? You must be in a difficult bind if, say, Alfie gets badly tackled, either by yourself or somebody else. Badly tackled.
Yeah, well, in fact, there was... sorry, Roy, HG, there was a situation this year where Stephen Noof was hit fairly heavily, and what looked to be a fairly high tackle, and in fact wasn't, but he had broken his jaw, and I'm wearing a New South Wales jumper, and of course he's wearing Queensland. And you didn't know whether to go over and console him or pat the guy on the back for actually putting the hit on. So in those situations, it does become a little bit difficult. Yeah.
And just with this, the ongoing feud at the highest levels in the game, how much does that affect the players? I mean, you know, personally speaking, you know, the club that I follow goes around, so I watch it, and you know, obviously the standard isn't quite the same. But you know, from the players' point of view, they just battle on with whatever cards are dealt with.
Yeah, I think all players from both sides have realised that they can only control what happens on the field, and what happens off, well, it happens. And I think the players and the coaches and the coaching staff of every club in Australia have just gone about their business, and it's very disappointing for me, because I think there's been some wonderful football played this year on both sides of the coin, and we really haven't been you know, given the opportunity to see and hear about or read about those games. We've obviously read and heard, and we're virtually sick of hearing and reading about the battle. You know.
Do you like Arnott's biscuits at all?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Good.
No. When did you stop?
To hear that.
Yeah, when did you stop eating them?
Oh, a couple of days ago.
Look, obviously no one goes away from this show empty-handed, and a while ago we were working on a radio program we still do from time to time for Triple J called This Sporting Life, and when a certain nickname bobbed up, which wasn't a million miles from the name Glenn Lazarus, a listener sent in an objet dart, which we'd like to hand on to you now, courtesy of the show. It's this magnificent brick with eyes. It's a wonderful souvenir of a wonderful playing career, and I think Roy would like to do a comparison.
Oh, no, it just sits there very nicely. It's a very good likeness.
Try again, I don't think...
Try again, we didn't catch that yet.
Yeah,
very nice. Now, just finally, Glenn, speaking of bricks, you did a bit of work for Austral Bricks, didn't you?
I swear, please. New Brick.
Oh, the New Brick.
Affiliated.
They're not as good as Austral, are they?
Yes, they are. They're a lot better.
And that obviously was a very successful promotion.
Well, apparently so, yeah.
Well, it's got people talking Austral Bricks, and that's got to be a good thing.
You keep swearing.
Now, did you know, they approach you knowing that you were known as the Brick with Eyes, obviously, but how did they approach you about it?
New Brick are an offshoot of Pioneer Building Products, and they're a Melbourne company, and they've got it's only a small operation in Brisbane, and these guys really didn't know how successful this would be, so they took various things out into the marketplace, just a shot of my eyes and things, and asking people whether they knew who it was, and a lot of people said yes, which was a big surprise. But apparently the billboard that was put up, the one that I'm fairly embarrassed about, was put at both highways leading out of Brisbane, and copped a fair bit of flack from certain councils in both the Sunshine and the Gold Coast area. So that in itself would mean that the campaign was pretty successful, because it got a fair bit of press.
Yes. Well, you were lucky with that nickname. I mean, it could have been, you know, the Brick with...
Well, I've got you guys.
The Brick with a Dip.
In fact, I remember... In fact, there has been, a couple of times there's been a P instead of a B. But we won't go into that. But yeah, I remember talking to HG some 5 years ago. I picked you up at the Sheraton in a Black Thunder, and you were saying that you actually can't take the credit for it.
No, I can't. I can't. It was a fan who actually coined it. Yes,
and, who did that probably?
Yes, probably indeed. And I'd love to see a billboard with that one flute high. An interesting piece of art. And on that cheerful note, it's time to wish Glenn a bump-filled future. And I ask everybody, whether they're at home or here in the Bond, to get out a couple of bricks and bang them together as a way of thanking the Brick with Eyes, Glenn Lazarus.